All right, we're talking about learning target 18, which is about principal values. Principal values of functions are based on all the specially defined functions from yesterday. And so principal value is just a value that happens to be in that domain. Okay? So it's important to note that capital S, sine, and tangent are between negative pi over 2 and pi over 2, and cosine is between 0 and pi. So when we're answering questions today on the unit circle, you'll have to look at certain pieces of the unit circle to answer the question. All right? So for example, if we're doing anything involving sine or tangent with a capital letter, then you're only looking at the right side of the unit circle. And so it's from negative pi over 2 to pi over 2. So even though the unit circle says like 3 pi over 2 and 5 pi over 3 and 7 pi over 4 and 11 pi over 6, we're not actually using those values. We're using the negative versions of those values. So this is negative pi over 6, and this is negative pi over 4. All right? So what we defined yesterday in that graph, that first graph that we did, when you graph sine, we defined it in this box from negative pi over 2 to pi over 2, right? So we can't use any of these values outside of the box. Does that make sense? Okay? So then for cosine with a capital C, it was from 0 to pi. So you'll only be able to look at values on the top half of the unit circle. Okay? So this is why that's important. If I ask you to find a value that's not in that domain, then you can't do it. Even though it's on the unit circle, it's not part of the specific domain for the ones we defined yesterday. Sure, if I said like just regular cosine, you could look at whatever you wanted to. But if I say capital C, well, that's different, right? So I'm going to do some of the examples from the last page of your packet, and then you're going to finish the last page to make sure you know what you're talking about. And then once we go over that, you can do Learning Target 18 homework. All right? Okay. So the very first one says to find arc sine of 1/2, capital A. That means we're finding inverse sine of 1/2. That means what we're doing is we're looking on the unit circle to see where sine is 1/2. You're going to give me a radian measure in return. Does that make sense, what they're asking you to do? Okay, so we have to remember, since it's a capital A, we can only look at specific parts of the unit circle. That's the only trick to this. All right? So sine is 1/2. We'll just identify all of them, but sine is 1/2 here, right? Sine is 1/2 here. Do we agree? But since we're doing arc sine with a capital A, which one of those is the one that's appropriate for the answer? Pi over 6, because for sine, capital S, arc sine, we can only use negative pi over 2 to pi over 2. All right? So the 5 pi over 6 isn't in the domain, so we can't use that one. So it's just pi over 6. Does that make sense? You're defining a specific piece of the unit circle. We've only can use, that's what all this table was yesterday, we can only use negative pi over 2 to pi over 2. Okay? Let's do another one. D. Inverse cosine of negative 1/2, but cosine with a capital C. Right? So we're looking to find the radian measure where cosine is negative 1/2 on the unit circle. But since we're using capital C cosine, we can only use from 0 to pi. So we can only look at the top half of the circle. So where is cosine negative 1/2? 2 pi over 3. Does that make sense? Yes, cosine is negative 1/2 somewhere else in the unit circle, but it's not defined for capital C. All right, on E. Arc tangent of 1 of the capital A. Remember, tangent is y divided by x. So we're looking to see on the unit circle where tangent is 1. But for tangent, again, we can only use this half of the unit circle. So where is tangent 1 on that half of the unit circle? Pi over 4. Right? Something divided by itself is 1. For argument's sake, we're going to do f as well. Okay, so inverse tangent, capital T, but where tangent is negative 1. So where is tangent negative 1? Again, it has to be on that half of the unit circle. Right, so that is the location, but 7 pi over 4 isn't the right answer. Right, because we can only use negative pi over 2 to pi over 2. We have to think of these as the negative counterparts of what's in the top half. So the correct answer isn't 7 pi over 4, but negative pi over 4. Okay? Right, 7 pi over 4 isn't between negative pi over 2 and pi over 2, so we wouldn't be able to put that. Okay, questions about that one? Let's do one more. Let's do G. This just has 2 parts. It says to find arc sine, capital A, of whatever cosine of pi over 2 is. Right? So we're just going to find cosine of pi over 2 first. It's lowercase cosine, so it doesn't matter anything about the domains or whatever. We're just finding cosine of pi over 2. So what is cosine of pi over 2? 0. And so then capital A arc sine, we're trying to find the radian measure for sine is 0. So where is sine 0? Sine 0 right here, right? You can't use 2 pi because that's between negative pi over 2 and pi over 2. So just 0, right? All right, go ahead and try the rest of them on that sheet. And in a second, we'll go over all the answers. All right, so on B, we're using arc sine of negative 1/2. So we're looking to see where sine is negative 1/2. Since it's capital S, we can only look at the right-hand side from negative pi over 2 to pi over 2. So sine is negative 1/2 right here, right? But 11 pi over 6 isn't the right answer. We would write negative pi over 6. Questions about why it's negative pi over 6? If this is pi over 6, then this is negative pi over 6. If this is pi over 4, then this is negative pi over 4. All right, on C, arc cosine, capital A, we're looking to see where cosine is 1/2 on the unit circle. Cosine is the top half. So cosine is 1/2 right here. So pi over 3. Questions about C? On H, we need to find tangent of pi first. Just lowercase, just regular tangent of pi like we've done since the beginning of the school year. So tangent is y over x. So at pi, tangent is 0 divided by negative 1, which is just 0. So I'm really looking for inverse cosine, the capital C, of 0. So where is cosine 0 on the top half of the unit circle? Pi over 2. And the last one, which I know it's a typo, there's another E, I don't know why. Inverse cosine of 1. Again, looking at the top half, where is cosine 1? 0. Inverse sine of a half. So where is sine 1/2? 5 or 6. And 0 minus pi over 6 is negative pi over 6. So we're just looking to see what cosine is at negative pi over 6. So again, if this is pi over 6 and this is negative pi over 6, so what is cosine at negative pi over 6? Square root of 3 over 2. Questions about those? Feel better about those?